freedom, you might actually be trapped because most owners don't own a business. They own a job they can't quit. My guest today is Paul Ajoy. He's bought, scaled, and exited over 15 businesses, and he helps founders build companies that run, scale, and sell without them. Paul, welcome to Lean In to Lead.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited too. I'm very entrepreneurial and love business and love all of the things that come with it, but certainly understand that there's unseen challenges. And I think when people get into business, oftentimes, there's this perception of all the freedom and all the money that's going to come with it, and sometimes it can be the reverse. And so I'd like the listeners to really understand your journey. And I mean, that's impressive. Over 15 businesses, doing one is hard. So I'm super interested to hear about how you managed to do all this.
Interesting journey. And it is super hard, especially the first one or the second one. And then after that, then you start scaling and you figure it out and you hire people and things like that. But my journey, so I'm college educated and I'm a CPA. Okay. So, which, by the way, thank God I'm a CPA. Take as many accounting classes as you possibly can. I don't care what you do. You're a doctor, an attorney, digging ditches, you need to know accounting, right? So take as many of those as you possibly can. So that has definitely helped my journey, especially on the minimization of taxation. But so I came out of college and went straight into what was Big Six accounting back then, worked at Coopers & Lybrand in the audit department for 2 or 3 years, absolutely hated it. But it's a foundational rock on your resume, right? So that's like investment banking. You work at JP Morgan or whatever, you can't take that away. So it's just kind of a brutal job. And so I left there and kind of went into corporate world. Back in the 90s, everything was telecom for the old people. We all kind of understand that. Everybody wanted to get into telecom, right? The internet was just kind of, was hitting and fiber came out and all the regular telephone companies, everybody wanted to be some part of telecom, right? So I lived in that space for about another 8 or 10 years in various roles in accounting and finance and financial management and revenue management and all that sort of stuff. So I'm 32-ish, newly married. I got a kid, and the wife and I are getting ready to have the second kid. And she was a headhunter. That's actually how we met. That's a whole nother 30-minute segment if we want to go there. She was a headhunter and specializing in accounting and finance placements. And she interviewed me for a job, and that's how we met. So interesting story, but yeah, that's for another time. But so we're getting ready to have kid number 2, and we need to replace her income. So maybe, hey, let's go buy a card store or a small boutique or something that she can manage maybe 10, 15 hours, 20 hours a week, and replace some of that income that we're now losing because she was going to stay home full time. So didn't know anything about buying a business other than I think that's just was our best avenue forward. Well, about that same time, my brother Bob, and I'm the youngest of 8. So Bob's number 2 in the order. He had worked at a company called Fast Tax. That was his only job coming out. Super smart guy, applied mathematics, and he worked at a company called Fast Tax. And he was the vice president of IT. I think he had like 200 people working for him, and they got bought out. And as you know, corporate takeovers, they fired all the smart people and all the people that were making money. Well, he just happened to he got a 2-year severance. So I guess they were super nice. They fired him, but gave him a 2-year severance, which is unheard of, which was nice. And so I got with him. I'm like, man, let's pool our money and let's go buy a little bit bigger business than what I was originally looking at. And so at that time, I just kind of hit my network and kind of just started telling people what I was wanting to do and all that sort of stuff. And guy I played soccer with. So I played soccer in college and a little bit of semi-pro out of college, and still play soccer now. It's mostly about drinking beer now, but and it's kind of ugly looking watching a bunch of people run around the field. But so one of the guys I played with was a business broker, and he showed us a flooring company, carpet, hardwoods, tile, things like that. And so here I am, corporate world, wearing a suit, driving a Lexus, and I'm about ready to buy a flooring company. Are you kidding me? I mean, I'm going to
I
have
love
to
it.
get a whole new set of friends and start talking different. And, but we love the company. The numbers made sense, right? And we bought it. So that's the first company we looked at, and the numbers were good. It was making about $300,000 a year,
Yeah.
and we bought it right at a 3 multiple. So we bought it for 900 grand. And I kept my job until the company started making enough money for me to transition.
Yeah.
Okay. So where originally now we were going to replace my wife's income. Now we're thinking about, well, we can replace my income too. And I go over and help run the company. So my brother Bob kind of ran the back office. So we did accounting and finance and job scheduling and inventory management and things like that. And after about 6 months, we were making enough money that I left my corporate job. So where we were going to replace my wife's income, now we're getting into a situation where we're replacing both of our income. Okay. So after debt service, we're probably left with maybe $80,000 to $90,000 each, which is less than what I was making, but we kind of saw the light at the end of the tunnel of where we could be 4 or 5 years from there.
Yeah.
And we doubled the company in about 3 years.
Unreal.
So what was making 300,000, now we're making $500,000 or $600,000 a year 3 years into this.
Yeah.
So we're definitely super happy. And me and the brother we're very conservative. We're not driving around fancy cars or anything like that. So we started saving money. Right. So we're 3 or 4 years into this, and we got $200,000 burning a hole in our pocket. Well, let's go buy a business number 2.
Huh.
Right. So we pivoted big time from being in that construction service, home service space. And we kind of wanted to diversify. So this was back in 07, 08, when there was a massive housing crisis.
Mm-hmm.
So we got into oil and gas.
Interesting.
So interesting. So we bought an existing company. They did sandblasting and painting. So they had mobile crews. This is in Fort Worth, where way back then, this is where they perfected fracking. So that's ground zero for fracking. All the fracking that's done all over the world, it started in Fort Worth, Texas.
Yeah.
So we had mobile crews, and we would go out to the wellhead sites, and we would sandblast and paint all the exposed piping.
Yeah.
So we're in Texas, and things start rusting. That's not good. So we're sandblasting in the same pipes every 2 to 3 years. Right. So good repeat business and things like that. So that was business number 2. We ended up now we all of a sudden started transitioning. I bought my first piece of real estate because people started asking us, well, I've got a trailer. Can you sandblast and paint us? And then I've got a manifold trailer. I got a drilling rig. Can you sandblast and paint that? I've got a bunch of service poles. And so all of a sudden now we had people that wanted us to build sandblasting and painting booths, and we can paint stuff inside. So I needed a place to buy, and ended up finding a place, and we ended up installing 3 paint booths and 1 sandblasting booth there in Mansfield, Texas, just south of Fort Worth. And all of a sudden now I've got another, in essence, a second business inside of another business, right? Yeah. I've got the mobile crews, and now I have a fixed location where we're sandblasting and painting other things. And I ventured into owning real estate for the first time. So that's an interesting exit. I ended up selling that business about 5 years later, and I kept the building.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
So that building now is cash flowing me about $120,000 a year.
Yeah. Unreal.
And it'll be paid off in about 3 years. So
question on that.
Yeah.
So when you sold the business, obviously, and I've been through this a few times myself as well. Oftentimes people who come in to buy the business, certainly if it's private equity or investment groups, they often don't want to hold the real estate for some reason. And so was that part of a strategy for you, or to keep the building and rent it out, or was it sort of, driven by the demand or the request of the purchaser?
It was driven by demand. I would love to tell you that that was an intelligent decision, that I was thinking forward. No, No, I'm still, that's my first venture into real estate. So
Yeah.
super scary. Highly recommend it for anybody buying a business now.
No
You should
kidding.
buy the
Yeah.
real estate without a doubt. So I own now 3 other pieces of real estate. So my flooring company that I still own 25 years later, still own that one. So I
Wow.
bought and sold all these others, but that's been my mainstay. I still own it, and I think because I like it.
Yeah.
So I kind of act as a salesperson, a part-time salesperson. So we did a lot of high-end construction, residential construction. And so I kind of manage those handful of customers that are building $3, $4, $5 million houses. We're going to put floors and carpet and wood floors, and I kind of like it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I don't have a Lexus anymore. I have a pickup truck, by the way.
I love it.
So I'm on pickup truck number 5, I think now. So I've definitely transitioned into a different lifestyle.
Yeah.
So yes, but now I own, for the flooring company, I own that real estate now for the flooring company. So I own half of that building. It's about a 12,000 square foot industrial building. I own half of it, about 6,000 feet. And then I got another little auto repair kind of technician company in the other 6,000 square feet.
Yeah.
So definitely dabble with real estate now.
That's incredible. And I think, what's really interesting and inspiring about what you're sharing is it's hard to start one business and it's hard to run a business, and then selling a business is not easy. Oftentimes my experience has been entrepreneurs, end up in a trap, and I've been there. They don't know how to exit a company. So I want to ask you 2 questions. What is something that you look for? Because you're somebody who's bought and sold multiple companies. So what is something you look for when you go to buy a company? And why do you feel like a lot of them fail after they sell? And do you have any insight into that?
Man, I'm going to throw out a couple like must-haves on buying a business. Okay, there's several industries I don't like. Just like it's high risk, like restaurants, convenience stores, liquor stores. There's just too much mafia, let's call it, in liquor stores, even though it's not mafia, but
yeah,
too many rules and regulations. Mom and pops, Steve in a pickup truck, those are hard, especially for business number 1. So there's a handful of businesses I wouldn't touch.
Yeah.
But on the other side of what I like to see on what I'm buying is, one, it's what happens when the owner goes. Mm-hmm. Does it just fall, all the customers are attached because the owner or the owner's brother, sister, and 2 kids live there. And so now that dad and brother's gone, what's going to happen to them? Because they're kind of the meat of the workforce there. So that's very concerning. So I don't like to see that, but I do like to see a company that's been around for 10 years. That is probably the biggest thing that I look for, because in 10 years, that company's probably gone through some type of economic event, mm-hmm. A COVID, a recession. Obviously it's changed. Maybe they've been through a Democrat and a Republican president. Changes in tax laws and changes in banking and all that sort of stuff. So they withstood all of those things that are kind of being thrown at them. And if they're still around, they've been in for 10 years, they're going to be making for another 10, I promise you.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
Yep. So that's the biggest one. I like growth. I like good margins, right? I like things going in the right directions, right? Like, take 4 years of financials and just compare them. Are they trending the right way? Are the margins going up or holding steady, right? Are there, look at their receivables, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, what's their day sales outstanding? Is that trending upward, trending downward? If it's trending upward, they've got some bad customers and you're going to get stuck with some bad people, right? So you got to know the numbers without a doubt of the companies you're buying. You're going to get yourself in trouble.
Yeah. And it's interesting. I mean, you have a CPA as a background, and so you've been able to successfully go in and buy companies in way different markets, flooring to paint in oil and gas. And I think, obviously, when you go in, have you gone in and then actually brought systems and processes and things that you've learned over the years into these organizations, or do a lot of them that you've bought really, sort of have the systems and structure in place?
I like to buy ones that are clean. Right, because then it's easy plug and play. And I don't know if I'm smart enough from that side of the world to go in and make an impact. Right. So there's 30 things you need to do or 30 hats you need to wear to run a company. I'm good at 10 of them.
Yeah.
Right. The other 20 I suck at. Right.
Yeah.
And that's a big one. If you're getting into buying a small business for the first time, boy, you better do some soul searching.
Yeah.
And you got to look yourself in the mirror. What am I good at? And then hire for those gaps that you're not. Super important. You understand who you are and what
Yeah.
help you need.
Yeah, and it's likely one of the biggest mistakes that founders make when they start a company or somebody buys a company. Not only, and you talked about the resiliency you need over a decade. I think the stats are that 95% of companies in North America, and it could be wrong, but it's a high percentage of companies fail within the first 5 years. And I believe stepping into start a company or to buy a company, I don't think that until you've done it, anybody truly understands what they're getting into and how hard it is. And I know I've got caught in the trap of trying to do everything. And I was spending more time doing things that I sucked at than things I was good at.
Yeah.
And the company suffers. So I think that's a very good point.
I mean, I would say it's a good 5 years before you know what you're doing after that first business acquisition. And then you're probably comfortable for another 5. And then in year 10, then it just starts hockey sticking.
Yeah.
Right. You figured it all out. You've accumulated a little bit of wealth. And now you're buying businesses every year, and it just starts hockey sticking, without a doubt.
So continue on, please, because this is fascinating. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but there were just some stuff I wanted to pry out of you.
Oh, yeah. No. So, yeah, I've been all over the place. So other companies, I've bought fence company. I actually bought and sold the same fence company 3 times within 3 years. So I bought it and then sold it. And then that guy, it failed. I got it back from him. I fixed it and then resold it and then ended up selling it to another group of investors. So that was just kind of funny. But and then I've owned a hardwood plywood company, which is mainly just a commodity. So we sold to like trim carpenters and cabinet manufacturers. So they would buy a 4x8 sheet of walnut or maple or something like that, where they're going to go make something with it. So a very commoditized business. And I did not like that. So I sold it. I call that one a successful failure because I held on to it for about 5 years. I sold it for less than I bought it for, but I walked away with more cash because I paid down the debt for those 5 years.
Yeah.
So kind of a failure, but kind of I ended up walking away with more money. So that one wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I owned a lighting store, and so now we're selling lighting and flooring out of the same building. So chandeliers and sconces and things like that. So it was kind of an efficiency look because, you're hanging lights from the ceiling and I'm selling floors on the floor. So you kind of doing 2 things in the same space. So we really like that. So I've had, and the other thing I will mention, very interesting, is I don't know the numbers offhand. I think I've acquired 11 existing businesses and 1 failure.
I was going to ask about that actually. Is there one that sticks out that was like, oh my God, and that
I'm going to get back to that. Let me finish let me finish this thought. I've started 4 from scratch, 3 failures. So, boy, that's a before you think about starting a business, you better know what the hell you're doing, right? So definitely it's not business number 1 or business number 2. So I started these things after business number 5 and still really tough. So almost a 90% success rate for companies I acquired existing business and a 75% failure rate on ones I've started.
Wow.
That's a big takeaway.
That's incredible. Why is there any 1, 2, or 3 things that you could point to?
Man, it's just like, if the company, again, back to what I said before, if the company's been around for 10 years, it's going to be around for another 10. They've got great workforces. You go in there and look at like, oh man, it's like they've got 8 guys working for them. They've all been here 12 years. Those people got so much knowledge in them, right? And just jump on their back and they're going to carry you to the bank, making money for you, right? So the customers are there. The day that you take over the key for that business, you're putting money in your pocket,
Yeah.
right? Versus starting one from scratch. One, you don't have any customers, right? And then, oh, do I need $100,000 before I'm profitable, or do I need 500,000? I don't know.
Mhm.
So the working capital needs is really tough. And then, man, it's hard. But I will say with that, the one that was successful on the started from scratch, is my most successful company.
Huh, that's interesting as
So
well.
it is kind of, so there's the high risk reward there. So if it
Yeah.
makes it, you're going to do really well. Because we started that one, and that's an oil and gas company. We started that one with $150,000 of investor seed,
Mhm.
and that was 9 years ago. And we're profiting around 1.8 million a year
Wow.
in that
Okay.
company. We started with 150 grand, and we bought
Un
those investors
unreal.
out in 12 months.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
it's me and one other guy on
Yeah.
that one.
Well,
But to
congratulations.
get back to your question, is the one that I acquired that failed. Why? Okay, this is something I didn't know back then when I acquired it, but man, I preach it until I'm blue in the face. Is two things you can never let get involved in your decision making process and through your due diligence and negotiation. Two things: you got to remove ego and emotion out of the equation. And if either of those rear their ugly head in anything you're doing through that acquisition process, you're going to fail. So what happened is I fell in love with the company and I overlooked red flags.
Hmm.
We'll figure it out. Man, that guy's not doing any marketing. He doesn't know how to run this company. We'll be fine. We'll grow revenue. We'll double revenue in 2 years. And yeah, I know that his wholesale source is not reliable. We'll get another one. Don't worry about it. So I let ego and emotion get involved, and that was an absolute disaster.
Huh.
Absolute disaster. So that's one of the main reasons today. So when I acquire a company now, I mean, I'll do the upfront negotiation, but once we turn over, start the due diligence process and the quality of earnings test and all that sort of stuff, I hire an outside CPA firm.
Yeah.
So even though I'm a CPA and I can do it myself, that
Yeah.
just removes emotion and overlooking red flags. And they're going to come back with a report and they're going to say, Paul, don't buy it, or Paul, yeah, proceed. And I'm going to listen to them.
Yeah. I think there's a whole bunch of lessons in that, and anybody who's listening, I mean, they can avoid a lot of hardship and struggles in buying businesses if they listen to that alone, because I've got caught in that trap as well before. So I think that's interesting. You have the skill set, yet you still outsource it to just make sure that you don't end up with that. Hey, I love those people so much. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. And don't go cheap either. Right. So, man, hire an attorney, spend 20 grand on docs. Right. I mean, yeah, I could do some AI stuff. That's fine. But legal docs are only used when there's a dispute and a problem. And if you got some crappy documents, you're going to get taken to town.
Yeah.
So don't go cheap on that stuff. Just
Yeah.
don't. AI can produce some okay docs, but okay docs are going to get eaten up in court.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, lots of good advice here on that. So what are you doing now, and what's next? And what else does Paul do? You're obviously super successful.
So I'm running the two
You've
companies
wrote
now.
a
I'm
book.
running the oil and gas company and the flooring company, and I own 4 pieces of real estate. So 2 pieces of industrial, and then 2 small short-term rental from an office perspective. And then so I've gotten to the point in my life where I had a lot of people, oh, you own businesses and you're successful. I want to buy one. Can you help me? Can you look at this? Can you help me value it? And so I started doing that over the last 5 years, just for friends and family, just doing it for free. Right. And these guys are like, man, I got a letter of intent signed, and I didn't know you were in the small business space. Can you take a look at this for me? And man, I in essence saved the lives of many people. Let's just say that. People getting ready to write a check for $1.5 million to a company that's worth 750. Right. And because I've underwritten probably about 1,500 deals, right? So being a CPA, I can look at a profit and loss statement in 3 minutes. I can tell you what it's worth, and I can tell you what all the red flags are.
Yeah.
Right. So on that particular company, it was a rural trash hauling company. And I believe it was in Tennessee, Kentucky. Great company. In fact, I wanted a part of it. When I'm talking to this guy, when I first started looking at it, I was like, man, I want 20% of the deal. He was like, yeah, okay, you're in. I'm like, okay, well, awesome. Then I'm going to do all this stuff. I'll get you to closing, and I won't even charge you anything. So he sent me the P&Ls, and I started looking through the stuff, and they had 3 or 4 trash hauling trucks, the ones that you see pick up trash in your front of your house, $500,000 a piece. And then I got a bunch of other, F-150s and F-350s and doing stuff like that. And I got dumpster rentals and stuff like that. And I'm like, are you hauling any pollution? Yeah. Okay. So I just started asking a couple questions, and I looked at their insurance line on their P&L. So their insurance line for the entire year for everything they did was 10 grand.
Ooh.
And I'm like, what? I got a couple trucks in my flooring company, and just those 2 trucks, and they're not expensive trucks, cost me $8,000 a year each.
Mm-hmm.
And here they have 3 or 4 $500,000 garbage trucks. Those are $30,000 or $40,000 a piece minimum. Yeah. And I'm like, you don't even have a pollution policy. Cool. You're hauling hazardous waste, and you don't have a hazardous waste rider on your GL. If one of your trucks got in an accident, you're out of business. Mm-hmm. So I said, well, right there, your insurance should probably be about 150 grand minimum versus 10. Yeah. So a company that he thought was making 500 grand, now I'm showing him he's making 350. And then I asked a couple more questions because I looked at his payroll, and he didn't have any W-2 payroll. It was all 1099 contractors. And I was like, and I started asking a couple questions about their workers. I'm like, they own their own trucks? So IRS has got a guideline, 7 questions. If it's a W-2 employee or if it's a 1099 independent contractor, IRS, go to the website, irs.gov. Do they own their own tools? Do you supervise them? Do they make their own hours? Do they have the ability to work for other people? La-di-da-di-da. And the answer was wrong on all of them. And I'm like, that will come back to bite you in the rear end.
Yeah.
And you got to convert those from 1099 to W-2. So in doing so, now the owner is going to be responsible for payroll taxes, which is going to be around another $100,000 a year in payroll taxes. So there's another 150. So what was making 500, I showed him in a matter of a few minutes, it's really making 250. And the company was worth 750. So he backed out of the deal. If he would have bought that, he would have been bankrupt.
Whoa.
And when you borrow from the SBA, they're not nice, right? They'll come get your house.
Yeah. Right.
If you're married, I mean, boy, that's going to be really tough on your marriage, right? Mm-hmm. So your life is going to get upended if you don't make the right valuation and the right purchasing decisions on this. And that's one example of like 10. And I just woke up one morning and I'm like, man, I got to start helping these people. I'm in a good spot in my life. I make a crap load of money, send my kids to private schools and take nice vacations. And I want to provide a path to other people to follow exactly what I did in their 20s and early 30s. And so I created a community called Biz by Pro. I've been working on it for 2 years. Yeah. And we have not launched yet.
Oh.
We are in beta testing. I got 50 people beta testing it right now. It launches on January 12th. And I've spent close to $400,000 on creating this community. And the good thing it's me, right? So I built it in a way where they get me, not somebody else. And I'm a figurehead, and you're going to end up talking to somebody else. And help you with your valuations and teach you through the process. No, they get me through the entire process, right? They need help with evaluation, send it to me, and I'll value it in 15 minutes and send it back to you, right? So that's part of that community, right? So I'm super, super, super excited about it. There's all sorts of ways you can get it's bizbypro.com. Go out and look at it and show you what we're doing. If you publish this very quickly, I'll put you in my beta for free. And I'll give you access to the community for free right now. If you just mentioned that you were on this podcast, I'll give you access to the community life for free. If you help me beta test it. That is my life's next journey.
That's incredible.
Right. I will most likely end up having to sell the flooring company because it's taken up too much of my time, and there's too many people out there that need my help.
Yeah.
So that's my journey. I can send you a book. I wrote a book called The Exit Plan.
Yeah.
So that's out on Amazon. But again, if you message me some form or fashion, email me, text me, whatever, I'll send you a free copy of it.
What's an easy way to for everyone to get a hold of you?
Paul at bizbypro.com is the easiest way. And you want me to give out my cell number? I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that's fine. Whatever works for you.
214-207-8724. Text me. Without a doubt. So I gotta, as you can just hear my voice, I'm super passionate about this, and I'm super excited. And it wakes me up super early in the morning because I got a lot of stuff to do, and I'm super excited to help people out.
Yeah, and that's important to me, and a big part of why I started Lean Into Lead was really about heart-centered leadership, and entrepreneurs and business owners and leaders like yourself have gone out there and have stepped on some rakes, but have come out the other side and been successful, and the things to look for and not to, and now going out and having a positive impact in your community and on other human beings, and I applaud you for that. Is there one thing you tell an entrepreneur or somebody who's looking to sell a business or buy a business? Like, what's the thing on both sides of that? If you're planning to sell your business or looking to sell your business, what's the number one?
Sell a business plan. You really need 3 years, right? So plan well in advance. You got to get all your systems and processes in place, and your tax returns better look like your P&Ls. If your P&L says you make 300, your tax return says you make 0, man, you got to match those up, right? You got to make your business loanable, right? They're going to loan off of tax returns, not off of P&Ls. And you just got to get those systems and processes in place. For someone wanted to buy a business, jump off the bridge. There's never a good time in your life to buy that first small business. You just got to do it.
Oh, I love that so much. That gets me excited, actually. So, yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on here, Paul. And there's been so much. Anybody who's listening to this, you just got a masterclass in the last 30 minutes on business and what to look for and what to do if you're either buying or selling. And I love, go and do it. Jump off the bridge. I think that is incredible. And Paul, thank you so much for the clarity. This is Lean Into Lead. There's one thing I want to say. I read this quote when I was doing some research for this, and it said, and I want to share it. It said, if your business can't run without you, you don't own it. It owns you. And I thought, wow, that I've been in that trap before. So again, thank you, Paul. I super appreciate you being on here, and I look forward to chatting with you offline as well.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thanks.